Hi, everybody. My name's April, as always. Welcome back to another episode of our Mind and Body Wellness series here at Preferred Family Healthcare with our Missouri Show Me Hope Crisis Counselors. If you've been following us last week, we started talking about grief and loss and how that is a very hard topic for some people to deal with, to go through, to cope with. And maybe you're having a loved one who's having trouble with that. But then we also talked with Mary Lou about how not only is it important to acknowledge our grief and acknowledge the hard times that we go through in order to process that, but it's also very important that we acknowledge the joys that we have in life and we find things that we can find that happiness in, and those little things that do keep us going. So I hope that you joined us for that. If not, please take some time and go back and watch that because that was the exercise that Mary Lou did was awesome. And I thought that it fit very well with our little grief and loss kind of series that we've been doing. Because today we're going to continue talking about grief and loss, but I want to focus on a very important population demographic group of individuals who sometimes do not get enough support. They don't always feel that support or know that those supports are available for them, and that is our veteran population and our active duty military population. I think that these individuals, I know that everyone tries to pitch in and do their part and praise them and do what we can, but I felt like it was an important time with everything that's going on in our country. Of course, I mentioned last time, September 11th had passed, and that's a very hard subject for some of our veterans and active duty military and everything that's going on right now overseas. I think it's even more important to let them know that we are here for them and know what resources are available to them. So that's what today I kind of wanted to touch more on grief and loss, what that can look like for a veteran, and how they can find support and how we can also offer support. Maybe you have someone who's struggling with that. So again, we'll look at different reasons why we grieve. So it can be the loss of a loved one. Maybe it's the loss of a pet. Maybe you are experiencing the loss of a mentor, a figure of someone you looked up to, a leader. Maybe we experience grief and loss because of role changes. So this can be a lot of people had experienced during the pandemic, a loss of a job, a change of a work environment, change of coworkers. I've done some research on military populations and kind of things that they grieve over. And one of the things was, the coming back to civilian life. So do they not necessarily lose something, but they are adjusting to those changes, adjusting from coming back overseas, adjusting from that different environment. That is also a grief process that people kind of sometimes fail to realize. Adjusting to a different environment, any changes. A change in relationships. So this can be divorce, maybe losing a really good friend. Moving, that can happen a lot with a military family. Loss of a possession, and then maybe a change in beliefs. So focus specifically on military populations. They have maybe a lot of situations that we wouldn't understand. I personally wouldn't understand because I've not gone through that. I've not gone through those things. I've not served. So I can only go through learned experiences from other people. Take in those stories, listen to what they're feeling, what they've gone through. We can offer support in those ways. So losing a comrade in battle is something that somebody may be grieving over in the military. There's a such thing as survivor's guilt. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. but that is, kind of the why me, why not me, that type of situation. A sense of closeness that was had with fellow service members. Um, Identity as a member of the armed services. So maybe that's the only way they see themselves. Maybe they think that if I'm not in the military, then I don't have value. And that is such a misconception because those people have amazing values here in the civilian life that we need and we can utilize. The loss of physical ability. So this might mean disabled, or maybe you had a traumatic injury internally, like brain trauma, things like that. No longer being able to do those things is very much a grief process, missing those things. And then, of course, your mental health. Maybe you're experiencing post traumatic stress. Maybe you just don't feel safe anymore. All those things are things that we can grieve over and that we lose. And so it's important to know that there is no a lot when we talk about grief and loss. Everybody heals in their own time. Feelings can come and feelings can go. So there's no right or wrong way. And with time, you'll find that you or your loved one will be able to kind of come to terms with their loss. So today, we have a few more minutes. So I want to talk about ways that you can take care of yourself through the grief and loss process. So this can be somebody who is a veteran or just anybody who's watching this that can need some information. So letting yourself grieve. Take time to experience the feelings that come with the loss. Let emotions come and go, like we already stated. This emotional pain can be very hard, but it is a part of healing. That's important to remember. And talking about your experiences. Maybe you don't feel comfortable talking to just anybody. I know a lot of people want to talk with someone who has been in their shoes and has been through what they have been through, and that is 100% okay. We want to talk to people who we feel understand us and that we can relate to. So that's also, if you're looking for a counselor or somebody, that's important to keep that in mind. Is that person a veteran? Have they served? A lot of people, can they relate to what I have been through? That's a big thing. So keeping busy, doing purposeful things that align with your morals and your values. So it's really important to maintain your personal morals and your personal values during that process. And then exercise can also be a part of keeping busy. Just really anything to kind of, anything to be active every day can help in the grief process. And then along with exercise, I know it's hard, but we also have eating well, making sure that you do eat a decent diet. That can be very hard, in the grief and loss process. A lot of people don't have an appetite. You don't feel like eating. So that's something that's pretty important. And waiting to make major decisions. So don't make any big life decisions if you've just had a loss or you're struggling to really get a grip on something that's happening, because we want to make sure that you're in your right mind. Journaling is something we always talk about in any sort of coping process, not necessarily just grief and loss, but really any process at all. It kind of helps you focus on your emotions, think about what you're going through, and really allow yourself to process that. And even faith-based organizations. So I think that's really, I wanted to kind of touch on some resources that are available to veterans. I included them in the video description. So if you are wanting to find the crisis line for veterans, if you're wanting to find the, let's see, what is it? The Vet Center VA website to look for somewhere that you can get services, somewhere you can inquire about doctors, therapists, all that good stuff. So if you go to vetcenter.va.gov, make sure I got that right, and you can find a complete list of your local vet centers. So it's a good way to start. If you don't know where to find anything, that's a good place to start. You will find all your resources right there. And then also, if you are in immediate crisis, you can call the Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255 and press 1. Those are our crisis lines are a really good way to reach out and get the help if we're too afraid to take that first step. And then, of course, you can reach out to the Missouri Show Me Hope Disaster Distress Helpline if there is anything that you need immediately. And then you can contact us at Mo Prevention if you're wanting more information about any of these resources, or maybe just more resources in general. So don't be afraid to reach out. I know that we've been doing, on another note, we've been doing Tuesdays and Thursdays. So keep in mind, after today, we will only be doing videos on Tuesdays, and you're probably going to be seeing some new faces with us. So that's very exciting. But if you have any questions about past videos, upcoming videos, or anything you would like to see, feel free to reach out to us. We absolutely love to hear from everybody. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, of course, YouTube, Spotify. We have tons of resources, tons of places that you can find us at. So thank you so much for watching with us today. I hope you learned something. That's always our goal. But again, if you need anything, don't be afraid to reach out. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. If you're here in Missouri, today was perfect, beautiful weather, like 65, 70 degrees. Beautiful. So get outside and enjoy that if you can. But other than that, we will see you guys again next Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. Be well and have an awesome rest of your week.